In the countryside, the potato forms the foundation of the everyday menu, so it appears in every dish from soup to pancakes and as a side to simple dinners. Buckwheat porridge is the second pillar of home cooking and often replaces meat as the main source of calories on weekdays when thrift matters. Bread made from cheap flour is treated like a universal plate and snack at once, often with added fat or a thin layer of spread or jam. Onion and garlic are present in almost every pot, improving the taste of simple soups and giving dishes the necessary sharpness and aroma. Sauerkraut is put into large barrels for autumn and winter to provide vitamins in months without fresh vegetables and to extend the community's provisions. In many homes, hens are a source of eggs that rescue the protein balance of meals and are sometimes traded or sold to secure the most urgent needs. Some households keep a cow, which provides milk, cheese, and cream made at home because shops sell them at high prices, or not at all. Vegetables usually grow in home gardens where every scrap of land is cultivated to ensure winter supplies and reduce living costs. Orchards supply apples, pears, and plums that are turned into jams and compotes to have fruit out of season and to supplement the diet with vitamins. Pickled cucumbers must be in the pantry next to jars of marinated mushrooms gathered in autumn during harvests in the forest and fields. Marinated mushrooms are a valuable catch gathered together by families because their preparation requires time and gives an important flavor in the winter months. Bottled compotes become a staple drink and a way to preserve fruit aroma when the lack of fresh fruit limits beverage choices. Meat, if available, is often cured or salted to prolong its shelf life and to be saved for a festive day rather than an everyday meal. Real meat is eaten rarely because wealth is limited, and fresh portions are reserved for special occasions such as name days or family celebrations. Poultry from one's own yard is used more often because a hen provides eggs and meat at minimal cost, enabling a few varied dinners a month. Pork is generally reserved for holidays and ceremonies because fattening pigs and preparing the meat require family labor and resources. Offal such as liver, hearts, or tongues are prized for taste and nutritional value when meat itself is too expensive or scarce. Fish are caught in the nearby river or lake when possible, providing not only food but also a sense of self-sufficiency for village residents. In the poorest homes, soups are cooked on water without meat, enriched with potato, onion, and a small amount of fat to sate the family at low cost. Leftovers from dinner are reheated for several days, which is normal and an economic necessity, though it robs dishes of freshness and flavor appeal. Pomoje, the cheapest food, appears on the table as supper when meat supplies run out and what remains in the pantry or pot must be rationed. Sometimes a soup is made only from potatoes and onions to increase the volume of the meal and provide satiety with minimal use of higher-priced ingredients. The cheapest pasta substitutes for a second course because it is filling and easy to prepare, giving families the illusion of variety on a tight budget. Vodka is a frequent accompaniment to lunch and dinner because alcohol has for centuries been part of meeting rituals, and moonshine distilled in the barn becomes a household currency. Without a bottle on the table, there is no true celebration, and the presence of alcohol can be as important as meat when celebrating major family events. Excessive drinking causes food to take a back seat as consuming the drink and maintaining the social ritual of consumption becomes the priority. Many residents consume only 2 regular meals a day, which results from resource limitations and the need to divide food among household members. Breakfast is often limited to a slice of bread with tea, a practical and cheap start to the day in conditions where modesty of fare is the rule. Supper can be symbolic. For example, a potato with onions served by lamplight is an image of everyday simplicity and sometimes necessary saving of meals. In winter, the diet becomes monotonous, poor in vitamins, and more dependent on preserved foods because lack of access to fresh vegetables limits variety. The lack of fresh vegetables and fruits leads to vitamin deficiencies and health problems, especially among children and the elderly who have limited access to doctors. For the New Year, families try to prepare meat in better dishes, which is a ritual of maintaining the appearance of prosperity and passing on tradition despite poverty. Olive salad appears once a year and becomes a symbol of culinary luxury, whose presence testifies to the specialness of the holiday and family generosity. At weddings and celebrations, roasted pigs appear as the central element of the feast, symbolizing abundance and shared joy despite everyday scarcity. The village shop most often sells vodka and bread, while fresh produce is rare because distribution and prices discriminate against servicing small communities. Many residents must travel to the town for better food, which generates transport costs and requires time and means that are not always available. Grandmothers save every crumb of bread and teach the younger ones how to store goods, ferment, dry, and freeze so that nothing is wasted during long months without deliveries. Everything that can be pickled, dried, or frozen is used because the skill of preserving food determines the survival of families in hard months. Children and families often eat better than adults because adults forego portions to ensure the youngest get more protein and calories in difficult times. Food in the Russian countryside ceases to be a pleasure and becomes a survival strategy where rationing portions and stretching supplies is a daily necessity. Moonshine distilled in the barn also functions as a tradable commodity, and its production can be a form of additional income despite the risk of legal sanctions and inspections. Many families say they save on food by giving up meat for many months in order to collect funds for fuel, medicines, and children's school needs. Some farms rear animals for their own needs and sell surpluses at the local market, which provides extra money for a day's wage or medicines. The rural community preserves traditions of thrift passed down from generation to generation, creating a specific culture of consumption and resource management. Stories of how grandmother pickled and dried vegetables become part of intergenerational transmission, strengthening bonds and practical knowledge needed for survival.